Good morning and welcome to First Unitarian Society. I am Roger Birchhausen, one of the ministers here, and I am joined today by my colleague, Reverend Kelly Crocker, by our musicians, Drew Collins, Linda Warren, Heather Thorpe, and Emmett Tom, and by our video technicians, Daniel Carnes and Stephen Gregorius. The vision of First Unitarian Society is growing souls, connecting with one another, and embodying our Unitarian Universalist principles in our lives, in the congregation, and in the wider community. We are so glad to have you with us today virtually as we celebrate our annual Flower Communion. We are also taking this occasion, one of Kelly's favorite services of the year, as an opportunity to celebrate her 20th anniversary at First Unitarian Society. That is an extraordinary amount of time, particularly for a second minister position. But of course, it's not really the length of Kelly's service that we're celebrating today. It is the quality, the impact she has had on countless lives in so many ways in this congregation. Today is a chance to practice our gratitude muscle for a beloved soul and for all that she has done as a minister here. I am thankful for the labor of love that the planning team for the celebration have put into this. So thank you, Barb Avery, Cheryl Mellenthan, Terry Peppercorn, Leslie Ross, and Janet Swanson. And I am grateful to those whose words of appreciation you'll hear interspersed during this service. We hope that you will be able to join us in our virtual coffee hour immediately after the service, where Reverend Kelly will be the guest of honor. You can find information about accessing the coffee hour on our homepage, fusmadison.org. And we warmly invite you to come by for the drive-through reception honoring Reverend Kelly. That'll take place between noon and 2 this afternoon in the FUS parking lot. You can find more information about the reception in the red floors. I invite you now to join in a moment of silence and centering. Bring yourselves fully into this time, this place, this community.
For the gift of this day and for our community of spiritual nature and compassion, we give thanks. We light this chalice as a symbol of faith. May our many sparks meet again and merge in communion of heart and soul.
Please rise in body and or spirit to sing with us hymn number 64, Oh, Give Us Pleasure in the Flowers Today.
Oh, give us pleasure in the flowers today, and give us not to think so far away, as the uncertain harvest keep us here, all simply in the springing of the year. us pleasure in the orchard white, like nothing else by day, like ghosts by night, and make us happy in the happy bees, the swan dilating around the perfect trees, and make us happy in the darting bird that suddenly above the bees is heard, the mixture that frosts in with needle veil, and of a blossom in mid-air stands still. For this is love, and nothing else is love, the which it is reserved for God above, to sanctify, to what for ends we will, but which it only needs that we fulfill.
Hi, Kelly. Congratulations. It has been 20 years. It totally doesn't feel like 20 years because you look way too young to have been a minister for 20 years. You look great, as always. It feels like just yesterday that I was in religious education, telling you my hopes and dreams, and you would listen. I was in high school and I'd tell you my hopes and dreams and you would listen. I was in college pursuing my hopes and dreams and you watched. And here I am now. I am living my hopes and dreams. I'm in the back of the ambulance. I'm at work right now. But you have always addressed people's issues head on with open arms, and you would rock right alongside them as they were trying to figure stuff out. And you would go out of your way to help people, and you would get the congregation involved to support one person. And that is what I would define as a leader. Someone who's brave and strong enough to deal with people's issues with open arms. I remember one time when I was at the hospital, it was after hours for visiting, and my nurse came in and was like, "You have a visitor, but they're like one of the visitors that are allowed anytime." And you came in the door and you had told them that you were my minister, and we had religious, some religious thing that we had to do. I don't remember what you said. But I'm pretty sure we just talked about how you were going to sneak cookies into my bedroom when I was at the hospital. But I love you. I love you so, so much, and I'm honored to have you in my life.
Pastor Kelly is a great pastor and a great person. Our family has enjoyed her services and sermons since she came to FUS.
She started early with our family. She helped Michael with his Boy Scout Religion and Life Award, and Leah with her Girl Scout Religion and Life Award. We were discussing with young Michael what a creed was, and she said, "You know, like the 10 Commandments." Michael, a lifelong UU, said brilliantly, "Huh?" She started listing them all, and when she got to "Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's ass," Michael stared at her butt and again said, "Huh?" and had no idea why Kelly and I couldn't stop laughing. She helped mentor Leah's Girl Scout Gold Award. She visited Leah during several hospitalizations, staying until Leah felt comforted. When we were in church in person, she would make a point to say hi to Leah, no matter how busy she was.
She agreed to perform Michael and Casey's wedding, and then, much later, told her it was to be in Manitowish waters, 4 hours north of Madison. She still came.
During the pandemic, she has been very busy with her church duties, as well as helping her kids attend virtual school. She still makes time for virtual visits, including the knit-in.
Her sermons and solstice services are thought-provoking and well-spoken.
We could talk more about her wonderful personality and her patience, but we were told we only had 2 minutes. So thank you, Kelly, for all you have done for our family, other families, and for FUS.
What a joy to welcome you to another Flower Communion service, and for both people new to this tradition and to renew a sense of meaning for those who have perhaps celebrated it many times before. We want to share why Unitarian Universalists have this ritual.
Absolutely. You know, the Flower Communion service is one of the favorite services for so many Unitarian Universalists across the United States and now across the world, including in Transylvania. I think telling the story about how it came about is a very important part of our UU heritage.
It all began in the city of Prague, in the land of Czechoslovakia, in 1923. There was a church, but the building did not look much like a traditional church. It had no bells, no spires, no stained glass windows. It had no organ to make beautiful music. It didn't even have a piano. It had no carvings of wood or statues of stone. It had no candles or chalice, no flowers. What it did have was 4 walls, a ceiling, and a floor. It had a door and a few windows and some wooden chairs. But that was all, plain and simple.
Well, that and the church also had people, congregants who came every Sunday, and it had a minister, and his name was Norbert Čapek. He had been the minister for the congregation for 2 years. Every Sunday, Minister Čapek went to church, and he spoke to the people while they listened, sitting quietly and still in those hard wooden chairs. When he was done speaking, the people talked a little bit among themselves, and then they went home. And that was all. No music, no candles, no food, not even coffee, bagels, or donuts.
Now that is dedication. Springtime came to the city of Prague, and Norbert Čapek went out for a stroll. The rains had come, the birds were singing, and flowers were blooming all over the land. The world was beautiful. Then an idea came to him, as simple, clear, and plain as day. The next Sunday, he asked all the people in the church to bring a flower or a budding branch or even a twig to church. I bet the church members were very curious about what Reverend Čapek was going to do with all those flowers.
Yes, they were. The people asked, "What kind of flowers should I bring? What color? What size?" And what do you think Reverend Čapek had to say to all those questions?
I bet he said something like, "You choose. Each of you choose what you like."
Exactly. And so, on the next Sunday, which was the first day of summer, the people came with flowers of all different colors and sizes and kinds. There were yellow daisies and red roses, there were white lilies and blue asters, dark-eyed pansies and light green leaves. Pink and purple, orange and gold, there were all these colors and more. Flowers filled all the vases, and the church was not so plain and simple anymore.
Minister Čapek spoke to the people, sitting quiet and still in those hard wooden chairs. "These flowers are like ourselves," he said, "different colors and different shapes and different sizes, each needing different kinds of care, but each beautiful, each important and special in its own way." When he was done speaking, the people talked a little bit among themselves, and then they each chose a different flower from the vases before they went home. And that was all. And it was beautiful, plain, and simple as the day.
This is such an important story for our heritage, yes, but also for our present and our future. Minister Čapek founded a church in Czechoslovakia in 1922. And over the years, it became the largest Unitarian church in the world with over 3,200 members. But the context of those times in the congregation and his ministry, that's important to know as well. And they hold meaningful parallels to what is important for our time. We particularly need simple and quiet times and rituals that return us to sustaining truths. Unfortunately, the lives of Norbert and his wife Maya were changed forever with the advent of World War II. Norbert Čapek continued to preach the power and beauty of diversity, and he stood in opposition to tyranny, hatred, and fear fostered in such times. The Čapeks paid a very heavy price. Norbert and one of his daughters were taken by the Gestapo, and although a court of law found Norbert not guilty of the charges, he was taken to Dachau, where he died, and his daughter sentenced to a labor camp. However, his wife and other family members were able to survive and leave in 1939 to work with Unitarian and Quaker aid societies to help other people. And the tradition of flower communion that the Čapeks began lives on.
Infinite Spirit of life, we ask thy blessing on these messengers of fellowship and love. May they remind us, amid diversities of knowledge and gifts, to be one in desire and affection and devotion to beauty and good. May they also remind us of the need for sharing and cooperation in our common quest for understanding. May we cherish friendship and community as one of life's most precious gifts. May we not let awareness of another's talents discourage or separate us. May we realize that the efforts of all of us, the goodwill of all of us, are needed to heal and transform our troubled world. May we be strengthened by the knowledge that one Spirit, the Spirit of love, unites us. And may we endeavor together for a more joyful life for all. Amen.
Our story today is called One Flower in a Field. Once upon a time, there was a field. It had dry grass, brambles, and thistles, and high places and low places and rocks scattered around in a stream that passed alongside. And scattered around here, there, and everywhere were flowers. Buttercups and tulips, coneflowers and lupins, all kinds of bright, beautiful flowers growing up out of the dry grass.
Now you may ask, how could these flowers grow when the field was so dry? The answer is that next to each flower was a hole in the ground, and in each hole lived an animal whose job it was to tend that flower.
Most were rabbits, but there were hedgehogs and field mice and even a badger or two. Every morning, each animal would come out of its hole, hop or scurry down to the stream, and use a leaf to scoop up some water. Then they would each carry their leaf back and water their flower.
In a little gully in this field, next to a tall sunflower, lived a rabbit. Every day she would go down to the stream and get some water for her sunflower. She loved that flower. It was tall and bright, strong and healthy, and she took very good care of it. One afternoon, the rabbit decided to hop up to the top of a little hill alongside her gully. When she got to the top, she saw something she had never seen before. Down a ways, she saw a flower. It might have been a daisy, but it was hard to tell. This flower looked in bad shape.
Now, why had she never seen that flower before? It's not that big of a mystery. She had just never climbed that particular little hill to look in that direction. Of course, she knew the field was full of flowers. She may have heard some were not doing quite as well as her sunflower, but she'd never actually seen one that looked as bad as this. She hopped down the hill to take a closer look, and then she began to understand. This flower needed water. Its stem was bent, its petals were wilting in the heat, the ground around it was parched and dry. The rabbit felt bad that a flower could be so neglected, and then she did nothing. Even though the flower looked terrible, it was just one flower in a field. After all, the field had plenty of other flowers that were doing just fine. The rabbit had enough work to do watering her own flowers. So she went home and got on with her business, getting up every morning, going to the stream, watering her sunflower, and hopping around all afternoon.
But the other flower didn't go away. At least once a day, the rabbit couldn't help but hop up to the top of the hill and take a quick look. Every day, the other flower looked a little worse. It started to get to her. The rabbit thought about that flower at night while she was trying to sleep. She thought about it in the morning when she hopped to the stream for water. She couldn't even enjoy her own flower so much, knowing the other flower was wilting more and more every day. Now you may wonder, why didn't that rabbit just go over and water the flower? After all, it wasn't far away. It was just on the other side of the hill. The stream had plenty of water, and the rabbit had plenty of time.
Well, that is a good question. The rabbit thought about it all the time. She'd think about making an extra trip to the stream to get some water for that flower, and then she'd think, well, you don't just march into someone's front yard and water their flower without asking, do you? What if that flower is someone else's to water? They might yell at me or something. Or she'd think, what if the flower likes being dried up and droopy? That's possible, isn't it? Or she'd think, aren't there animals who are supposed to go around and help out flowers whose animals don't water them? I should leave it to them, right? With all these questions swirling in her head, the rabbit went about her business, taking care of her sunflower every day and trying not to think about that other flower. But it kept bothering her, especially at night. It was kind of irritating, actually. Sometimes she wished the flower would just get better by itself or die. But every time she sneaked a peek, there it was, looking more dry, more wilted, and more droopy.
Finally, the rabbit could stand it no longer. One morning, hopping from the stream with a leaf full of water for her sunflower, she suddenly thought, it's just not right. Flowers are not supposed to wilt like that. Flowers should be healthy and colorful and bright and beautiful. And she found herself hopping over the hill toward the other flower, taking the water there instead. At the top of the hill, the rabbit got a bit nervous. Her nose twitched as she sniffed the air. It might be dangerous over there. She shouldn't be watering other animals' flowers. But then she said, it's just not right, and kept going over the hill and down the other side. The rabbit hopped closer to the dry flower, closer than she had before.
Suddenly, a hedgehog popped out of a hole in the ground. The hedgehog yelled, "Hey, what are you doing?"
I'm going to water this flower, the rabbit said. It's too dry, and if I don't water it, it will die.
The hedgehog said, "What business is it of yours whether this flower dies? This is my flower. I'll take care of it how I want. Go home and take care of your own flower."
But the rabbit answered, I'm sorry, but I tried that. Flowers are supposed to be bright and beautiful, not wilting and droopy, so I'm going to water this flower. She watered that dry, wilted, drooping daisy right in front of the hedgehog, though he fussed and mumbled and gave her mean looks. And she turned around and hopped back over the hill. The next day she came back with a leaf full of water and watered it again. And the day after that, she watered it again.
And then another day, and another, and another. The hedgehog continued to fuss and mumble and give the rabbit mean looks. But the flowers started to look better. First, the petals perked up. Then the stem began to stand up a little straighter. Then its leaves started to fill out and it got bigger. The flower even grew a little taller. Strangely enough, as this flower got brighter and healthier and taller and more beautiful, so did the rabbit's own flower. And so did every other flower, all the flowers in the field, even the ones she never watered, flowers she had never even noticed before. The whole field began to brighten as the colors of every flower became more vivid and the flowers stretched taller. It was almost as if there was more water everywhere.
How could that be? Were other rabbits and hedgehogs and field mice and even badgers sneaking around and watering other animals' flowers too? Or was it because when someone waters a wilting flower somewhere, all flowers everywhere grow a little brighter? Who knows? Maybe we'll just have to try it for ourselves and see.
Happy anniversary, Callie. They say that time flies by when you're having fun, and that would explain how somehow 20 years of working together has flown by. It's been a busy 20 years. But let's go back to the first day that I met you. Kim Hughes was our RE program assistant at the time, and the two of us were more than a little anxious about meeting you. For one thing, you were to be our supervisor, and we didn't want some stodgy tyrant in that position. And for another thing, we would be sharing adjacent office space, and we were really hoping to have someone with whom we were compatible. I remember the three of us sitting down to have coffee together, and we learned that day what so many of us have learned since, that you are so easy to talk to, that you love to have a good laugh, even if it's at other people's expenses, and that you are wicked smart. You prove to be both a compassionate supervisor and a blast to share an office with. When we parted ways on that early summer afternoon, our anxiety was quickly replaced with eagerness. We thanked our lucky stars that we might soon be able to call you ours, and that of all the possibilities, it was you who landed at our FUS doorstep. Working with you these past 20 years has really been one of the many joys of my time at FUS. You have amazed me over and over again at how you can create something meaningful and brilliant in the face of a looming deadline that would probably have me curled up in a corner. I have watched you create magic in your interactions with people, and I have seen you ease the hearts of those who are in pain. And your sense of humor has lifted our spirits during many a stressful time. So here's to your 20 years at FUS and to an exciting new chapter ahead. I can't wait to see how things continue from here.
I don't really know where to start, how to compress 20 years into 2 minutes, except to express gratitude to Kelly and her family for coming to FUS and hanging out with us for that long through thick and thin. When Kelly came to FUS, there was a missing piece. That bit was family ministry. She has a knack for discovering neglected concerns. Her openness and perceptivity welcomes confidences. She's filled gaps and facilitated many solutions behind the scenes. Sometimes the road has been rocky, and the best strategy's been to dodge the obstacles. But I don't think neglect is in her vocabulary, unless it's towards herself. Coercion by family, staff, and friends has at times been necessary for that to happen. She's very much loved by the community. I don't know how many people have said to me during the transitional search time, the only criterion I have is that Kelly be happy with whomever comes. During Kelly's time here, her family has expanded to include 2 children and 2 dogs. With the challenges of the pandemic, workplace, office, and school at home, Kelly somehow still finds room to juggle everything she's always done for FUS, Madison, and the Middleton community, mostly with good humor and equanimity. I know only too well from personal experience how it goes in a family when a parent has to plan for meaningful and thoughtful services most weeks of the year, including feast days and holidays, and interact with the community who relies on ministerial counsel and support. My Methodist family used to call it competing with God. In truth, I think this lady has divine assistance, and I'm eternally grateful to her for her presence in my life.
I now invite you into this time of giving and receiving, where we give freely and generously to this offering, which sustains and strengthens our community within and beyond First Unitarian Society. This week's offering will be shared with the Sierra Club 4 Lakes group. The Wisconsin chapter of the Sierra Club is Wisconsin's voice for the nation's oldest, largest, and most influential grassroots environmental organization. With over 18,000 Wisconsin members who are inspired by our beautiful lakes, forests, rivers, and other natural features, the Sierra Club works to protect our communities and our planet. You will see on your screen that you can donate directly from our website, fusmadison.org. You will also see our text to give information. We thank you for your generosity and your faith in this life we create together.
Good morning. I'm Leah Ongiri, and I serve the Fox Valley Unitarian Universalist Fellowship in Appleton. The three of us, along with the Reverend Kelly Crocker, are a small covenant group. We meet monthly for professional development and emotional support.
I'm Emily Gage, and I serve Unity Temple Unitarian Universalist Congregation in Oak Park, Illinois. It's an honor to get to celebrate Reverend Kelly today as you mark 20 years of her good ministry. We each wish to share about one of the many ways we appreciate Kelly. I love to laugh with Kelly, and I love her incredibly caring way of being.
Hi, I'm Dina McFeeters, and I serve the First Unitarian Society of Milwaukee. If any of you have ever been in a meeting with Kelly, you know that her face is more expressive than an emoji. Kelly, I just love watching your facial expressions and getting a peek into everything that's in your wonderful heart.
Kelly, you have been such a faithful resource for me. I appreciate the wonderful, deep, attentive presence that you offer to me and to those around you.
We are so excited for Kelly as she moves into a new role among you as your co-lead minister. We each wish to offer her a blessing in this time of transition. Kelly, I bless your endurance and your strength. May you always stay in touch with your beautiful creativity and ability to bless all those around you.
Kelly, may you take in all that you have accomplished as you grow into this new role.
Kelly, may you keep on being your fabulous self. You are a gift to the world.
Reverend Kelly and First Unitarian Society of Madison, it is a beautiful ministry that you all share. We wish you well in this next phase. Go Team Kelly!
It is time now for the flower communion. As you gaze upon the flowers before you, flowers sent to us from fellow members, may we do so quietly, reverently, with a sense of how important it is to address our world and one another with gentleness, justice, reverence, and love. Each blossom you see here represents a unique beauty, a unique spark of life, just as each person's humanity and life is unique and beautiful and deserves your kindness and compassion.
As we see these flowers, may we hold in our hearts these words from Lynn Unger. What a gathering, the purple tongues of iris licking out at spikes of lupin, the orange crepe skirts of poppies lifting over buttercup and daisy. Who can be grim in the face of such abundance? There is nothing to compare, no need for beauty to compete. The voluptuous rhododendron and the plain grass are equally filled with themselves, equally declare the miracles of color and form. This is what community looks like, this vibrant jostle, stem by stem, declaring the marvelous joining. This is the face of communion, the incarnation once more, gracefully resurrected from winter. Hold these things together in your sight. Purple, crimson, magenta, blue. You will be feasting on this long after the flowers are gone.
From the time many years ago that I went snack shopping with Kelly Crocker and Scott Prinster, snack shopping for a collegial gathering, I have always wanted to work with Kelly. I tried unsuccessfully to lure her to Appleton about 10 years ago, and working with her is a big reason I said yes to coming to FUS. Working with her has been everything I hoped for all these years, and more, much more. She is an incredibly gifted minister and a wonderful colleague. I will treasure this year working side by side with her for the rest of my life. Thank you, dear colleague and friend. As our celebration planning committee mulled over a gift for Reverend Kelly that expresses this congregation's deep gratitude for these 20 years, one team member mentioned how deeply Kelly loves FUS's partner church relationship. A big chunk of Kelly's heart is in Nadjojta in Transylvania. So we contacted Reverend Leventa in Utka and wondered if their congregation might be willing to create a Transylvanian Unitarian stole for Kelly. They agreed and created an absolutely gorgeous, beautiful stole. Kelly, with great joy, First Unitarian Society and the Unitarian Church in Nadjojta present you with this stole. The stole is on its way here. Thank you, Nadjojta friends, for creating this.
Dear Kelly, it is very emotional for us also to know you have 20th anniversary being minister in Madison, in the First Unitarian Society, in your second big lovely family. We keep in our heart your kindness, your ever-shining face, your really warm friendship, and it is so good that thanks to technology, time by time we can meet you all over thousands and thousands of miles. This contact between the two congregations, between Madison and Nadjojta, and our personal friendship between us, it is very important for us. This feeling is very special because your heart, we know and we feel, is also among us in Transylvania, in Nadjojta. Our soul, as you know and as you feel, is also in Madison. Dear Kelly, this is 20 years of your ministry, and these 20 years are blessing what is it realized in your life and our souls, our also. We wish to you courage, we wish to you healthy and joy in your life and your work. We send this stola with much, much love to you. When you wear it, you will feel always our love and friendship. Please don't forget, the flame in the chalice is always in light. Congratulations, dear Kelly. God bless you. God bless your family. God bless you all. And with much, much love, with much, much love, we wish to you all the best. God bless you. God bless you.
Our celebration today does not only mark the completion of 20 years of service to FUS for Reverend Kelly, it also honors the end of her work as a second minister here. With the arrival of Reverend Kelly AJ in August, Reverend Kelly C will become co-senior minister and enter into a new ministry at FUS. So today we look back with gratitude and we look forward with excitement and joy.
Hello, Kelly. 20 years ago, you and I met as you walked into the now gone octagon-shaped annex. You have been recently hired on their contract as the assistant minister. I was facilitating a meeting or a session that introduced you to the congregation. Afterwards, we spent several hours touring the neighborhoods of Madison. And as we went through the neighborhoods near the campus, you exclaimed, "How do you get away from all these students?" I laughingly said, "You gotta go east." We eventually called Kelly as our associate minister. Then she transitioned to being our minister of community life, and now she will be our co-senior minister. This path from being an assistant to a co-senior minister is a testimony to her capacity for deep introspection and growth, both as a person and as a minister. While Kelly's ministry has changed and Kelly has grown in many ways, one characteristic has remained the same. She reminded me of that characteristic during a Zoom meeting with Kelly AJ. She compared herself, her life, and her ministry to a large table that all are welcomed. This indeed is the essence of Kelly and the essence of her ministry, a large table that all are welcomed. Thank you, Kelly, for continuing to set that table, and in the past and in the future, and for all those who will sit around it. Thank you. I look forward to being around that table. Blessed be.
Rise in body and or spirit to sing with us our closing hymn, number 34, Though I May Speak with Bravest Fire.
hopeless gain. Though I may give all I possess, and striving so my love profess, but not begin my love within, the prophet soon turns strangely thin. Come, Spirit, come, our hearts control, our spirits long to be made whole. Let inward love guide every deed. By this we worship and are freed.
We close our service today with these words from Norbert Chapek. May we leave here today ever thankful for the persistence of flowers and open ourselves to their long wisdom. Often they grow in spite of terrible winters and miserable summers. May we remember the strange beauty that greets us in unexpected places, as if there is a particular grace that is stronger than indifference. When we tend our gardens with love and care, the reward will be greater than the effort. May the flowers ever speak to us of wonders and glories yet to be, of hopes fulfilled, if we remember to tend our gardens and our homes with patience and wisdom and love. Blessed be, and go in peace.